Okay, what's up, everybody? Sorry, sorry, it was a little delay there. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Carlotta Chat with Show. Okay, every time I try to say it's gonna be a quick show, child, it ain't never gonna be. I say it's gonna be a quick show, then it don't end up being a quick show. We'll do what we can do. Okay, all right, you guys. I hope you've been having a wonderful week. My week has been my weekend was good. It was kind of busy. I'm getting prepared for classes and school. This is my last semester. I of my master's degree. I think I'm waiting to talk to the counselor, but when I looked, it looks like it's my last one. So I'm so excited. I am happy about that accomplishment. I was not planning on doing that, and to have gone beyond and above, and to really go and fight for my education and it's something that I really love is it's pretty fun. It's pretty exciting. Pretty proud of myself. I'm excited. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So that's what I'm getting ready for, getting prepared so I can get this last semester. I've been working on my paper. Okay. It is what it is. Hopefully, I think it's gonna come out good, but y'all know. Okay. Let me see what else is going on. Oh, I just heard, you know what? I am so glad somebody wrote me today talking about Maxwell South Africa concerts have been canceled. For those of you fans out there, listen, I was not planning on going. I thought about it. And then I had heard Ebola rumors. And then people were saying, well, it's not in that region, but still I was like, eh. And then plus what else was going on? It was a lot. I got a lot going on right now. So I was just like, no. But for those of you, yeah, the South African shows have been canceled for Maxwell. Sorry to South African fans. Yeah, and this cruise is not showing up. I don't know what's going on there, but hopefully everything's good. But yeah, so yeah, I heard that. I listen. Shout, yeah. No, it wouldn't. I would have been if I. Thank God I didn't go, because I would have been pissed off. Right, but it is. I wanted to say that to all my Maxwell cool people who listen to me, and yes, Maxwell that show has been canceled. But hopefully you guys will hear more about the cruise soon, or maybe if he's having one or what, I don't know. Hopefully you guys will hear more about that. Okay. So, because somebody wrote me that today, and I just make sure I said, because I'm a Maxwell fan, so I think people, some of my Maxwell people listen to me, and they'll write me with certain things, and so I have to speak on it. All right, so yeah, okay, so I did see that. All right, you guys. All right, so again, so that's been going on. My week's been pretty since Monday. It just started. It's been pretty good, but my weekend was good. It's all good. I'm cleaning up a lot of stuff. I'm getting rid of a lot of things. I've lost a lot of weight, so on some things I gotta get rid of a lot of clothes. It's really hard. I'm trying to figure this out, but yeah, that's what I'm doing too, you guys. So yeah, that's my whole thing right now. Okay, so everything's a mess around me right now. Okay, but it's all good. All right, so there's so much I want to talk to you guys about today. Some conversations that I've been having with people and friends, and I guess I'll start off with it. We were talking about the topics of love. And I talked about this last week, and I think this show could be a reflection about love, about how most of us, even in marriages and relationships and everything, experience eros love. Eros love is the love that's to give you the feelings, where everything is about your emotions and feelings, in my opinion. And then there is agape love, which is a deeper love, the love that requires, it's not really regarding your feelings. It's more regarding the things you do, the actions you take. Okay. And so that's what I've been discussing with friends and family and people. We've just been talking about this and about how, look, because Malcolm Jamal Warner's situation really set it out, because we talked about that people, there is a relationship that you have with people in your marriage, in your life, that could be based on your feelings. But when agape love comes into the picture, it goes beyond, even I've seen this in couples, that it goes beyond divorce. You know, people will be divorced from a person, but they still have lots of love for that person. They still care for that person because it's beyond the feelings. It's just maybe they were going in different directions, or something wasn't working anymore, or something like that, but they still maintain the energy of love, meaning that they would still help that person if they could, or they would this and that. So I've seen those type of things too, even in breakups, you know, with regular couples. It doesn't mean they're in love with each other still. It just means that some people have a love that goes beyond feelings, emotions, things. And that's really what happens in marriages in the long run. Because after the eros, you know, you don't every day have passion and longing. The things of life come in, right? The things of life, like you getting older, health problems, different things, and you have to love then goes to another level. It's more than just sensual and sexual and passionate. Love goes beyond in your actions and what you do for that person, and how you care for that person, and how you move for that person. So we were talking about this with the Malcolm Jamal Warner situation, because we were like, what he did was, if this is true, it looks very irresponsible and it lacks the energy of love. And so that's what I can say to people. I really, and that doesn't mean he didn't love her, but I'm just saying it didn't go beyond to the second part where you made sure that people were cared for. This is what I'm kind of want to we're going to talk about a little bit today on the show. I think with different things, but what I want, I guess my it's a word, I'm going to start off with my it's a word. My it's a word today is look at the people in your life. Okay. If you say you love someone, if you say you care for someone, how do you reflect that love? It isn't just through emotions, isn't just through feelings, isn't just through sexual. And I'm not just talking about your significant other. I'm talking about your friendships, your your family members, your different people. How do you reflect love back to them? Because the most powerful part of love is not a feeling. It is an action. So it's making sure that your relative who's taking care of you is cared for after you're gone, or making sure your best friend, you support your best friend in their business by going and being their first customer. You know, love is reflected through action. So what is it? Eros love, especially if you're in a relationship, Eros love introduces you to that first where you're like, oh, I got chemistry. Oh, he's so sexy. He's this, that. He's blah, blah, blah. But then there's that love that goes beyond that. That love that goes beyond what you can, that it becomes reciprocation. It becomes balance. It becomes, and so what does that mean? And it doesn't require feelings. Okay. So what I want you guys to take with you this week from this is a word is, how are you reflecting love through your actions with the people you say you love most? I'm asking myself that too, you know? Like, how do you do that? How? And sometimes love doesn't always show up it doesn't show up always nice, like always overly. Like I have a specific situation going on right now, and the person thought I should always do love is a reflection of I do what you say and not what I deem is healthy for you. or I see, like, you know what I'm saying? I see something's destroying you. I don't keep enabling it. Like if you have a person in your family who's an addict or a drug addict or this and that, and a lot of times people think love is going out to get them the drug, but that is not. Love sometimes, most of love is saying, no, I will not watch you kill yourself. I will not watch you do this. Love is not enabling. Okay. So sometimes love requires you to bring discipline in a situation, to bring balance in a situation. Okay. So today, this week, your homework is, and your it's a word is, how do you reflect love to those around you? How do you support them through your actions? And then if you are giving, are you making sure you're giving in a way that is balanced and not enabling? Okay. So love is sometimes saying no. You know, one of my favorite scriptures, I love the Bible. One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is talks about that it's where's that? I went blank. Okay, let me look at here. Let me look it up. Okay, let me see if I get it. Okay, it's in Hebrews 12:7, and it says, endure hardship has discipline. God is treating you as his children. For what children are not disciplined by their father? Okay, so it means that discipline is another form of love. Like when you have to say no sometimes, and you really know, you just like, oh my God, it hurts you to say no. But discipline, showing restraint sometimes, saying no, sometimes it is a form of love. And we know that when people have people, you have people who have their children, they let them do whatever they want to do. They let them run around and do everything. That is not showing love. You're destroying their life. I'm watching Raising Canaan now, and we're going to get into Raising Canaan because I'm about to talk about Raising Canaan. I've got so much to say about Raising Canaan. I had to go back and watch the old episodes. I went back to the very first episode, and I'm trying to figure out how Sasha Penn got to where he got to. I don't like what he did, but I think I'm going to say some things that might be offensive to people about Raising Canaan. But I want to say this about Raising Canaan before I go into the whole spiel on it. In Raising Canaan, he has a mother that he sees is like trying to keep him out of the game, trying to keep him. But every time she does, because her life is not reflective of what it should be. And no matter how hard she tries to tell him not to do it, he's looking at her and saying, this is what I want to do, because she's one of the greatest influences in his life. Right. And so is that where she thinks she's showing love to this kid, she's not. She's actually destroying this kid's life. And so many parents will do that, say, well, I got to sell drugs, do my family, I got to do this and that. That's what we saw in Ghost Power. Here Tariq had everything. And a lot of people love to blame Kanan because y'all infatuated with the character of Ghost. Y'all are just infatuated. Ghost was a narcissist, if you look at that. And I'm sure Courtney Kemp will tell you that. And probably or he was borderline narcissistic. Okay. That character was. But but Ghost, it was not all completely. Kanan was just reflecting back to Tariq, letting Tariq could feel the energy in his household. He knew his parents wasn't perfect, even though they tried to give him a different lifestyle. But the sins of the father sometimes visits the son. And Ghost could not outrun who he was as a drug dealer. And some kids look at you because they're looking at you as the highest form of role modeling and who they are in their life, that they say, if it's good for you, then it must be good for me. That was the biggest horrible decision that made that situation go like it went. So yeah. So think about that today. How do you reflect love? What is love? I love, like the scripture said, love is patient, love is kind, it does not boast, it keeps no records of wrongdoing. All these things. What is love? Those are all action oriented, spiritually oriented. So that's what I want you guys to think about. And that's my it's a word for today. Okay. So let me go into Raising Canaan. I definitely want to talk about this because I think first of all, I want to say this about Raising Canaan and the cast of Raising Canaan. Uh, my personal opinion, one of the best casts on television. As far as acting, you're talking about. And if you haven't seen the last episode of Raising Canaan, please, you might want to turn me off right now because I'm getting ready to give you a spoiler. Okay. Uh, First of all, shout out to them. The whole cast, phenomenal, has actors. Emmy awards. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know how you didn't they nominate all that stuff for Breaking Bad and you overlooking Raising Canaan? That's crazy to me. Because I think there's a racism in America sometimes does not show itself in prejudice does not show itself. That's why I always tell people in America it's hard not to have racist energy if you're a white person in America because of how, and this is not to hate on white people, but I think it's subtle that you don't really even know it. It's that you've been shown something through television programming and all these things all this time that makes Black people look in a certain light. And the same thing for us, that it's hard unless you've done extensive work on yourself not to see people in those lights, right? And I think a lot of times people thinking because we have Black people are in a drug dealing show, that all Black people know how to act urban. Which is crazy. It's really crazy. And they don't think of that as a character, a person taking on a character, a real person, and bringing them to life. And this week, I just want to shout out to what's his name, Landon, who plays Marvin. I forget what his first name. Oh my God! You talk about a master actor. I mean, we give a lot of love to Fatima Miller and shout out and all the other people. Everybody in the cast. Makai is great. So is the guy who plays Lou. Oh my God! And the girl who plays Haley I forget her. It's Kilgore who plays Jukebox. All of them are great. It's not. These are not actors. There. These are actors. These are real good actors. And they just had a little dinner thing, I think, too, on Raising Canaan, where they all sat down and gave each other love for it because it's the end of the series. Is happening this week. I'm sorry if y'all heard all that noise out there, but the great thing about this, because somebody's mowing the lawn, it's just crazy. Okay, but the great thing about this cast, this Marvin, let me talk about Marvin, because Marvin met his death this week. And we all didn't want to see it because everybody, it's his favorite, it's our favorite character. And we tend to give a lot of love to Fatima Miller for her master acting classes. I mean, all of them are great actors and give a master acting class, but we all give a lot of love. But I want to give a lot of love to Landon. What he's done with the character of Marvin when we first meet Marvin. I went back to look at the first episode. And the evolution of Marvin, let me tell you something. One of the hardest things to do as an actor, because I'm an actress, one of the hardest things to do as an actor is evolving a character. And especially while you're doing it you showing the evolution of a character in a way that speaks to, we're watching a monster at first that looks like a monster, but we're seeing there's a humane side, and to show humanity and to evolve into something else. And there was one part in this last episode. I loved that part. I love some of the writing, but one part in it, he was talking to Rock, and it was after a shootout with the little younger kids, with Breeze and his crew and everything like that. And I'm gonna talk about in a minute how I think Sasha Penn and the writers of Power missed it in a big way. But I loved when he said to this writing. I am gonna give him love for certain types of writing, certain writings. When he says to Rock, when Rock is after this shootout, Marvin's been outgunned. Breeze brings out a Uzi. This is in the early 90s. That's probably to an old gangster, an OG, a Uzi's probably like, what? You know what I'm saying? And he shoot and it gets crazy, the shootout. And Marvin comes back and Rock is like, Rock's still trying to go at him, because Rock's a big, it's nothing like a woman. Female gangsters always think they got to overprove themselves, okay? But Marvin's like, she said, we seen all these types of dudes before. We seen this from, this person to this person, naming all the top dudes that was in the hood. And this dude ain't nothing different. He said, yeah, but maybe we are. Maybe we different. He's like, maybe we become something else. And it ain't for us no more. And then there was this other moment I love that Marvin did when he's in the church, because Marvin's been in and out of the church this year. And Marvin's in the church, and Kanan comes in the church to kill Marvin, which I hated. Power, I hate that. I hate what you've done. Kanan, you've made Kanan a serial killer. Okay, but I digress. Kanan comes in to kill his uncle because he's not really for beating him up, but because Pops and Snaps put a hit out on his mother and his father, but he don't know Pops and Snaps is dead, on his mother and his uncle, and so he's coming to kill his uncle, I guess, and he said it's bigger than that and everything. But Marvin doesn't know at first what he's coming to do. Marvin's like looking at him like, and Marvin could have easily got the ups on Kanan. You feel the feeling, but you also feel this feeling that Marvin's tired. And so Marvin looks at him. He walked into the church and he got this gun in his hand, and Marvin looked. He said, this little Negro y'all end up, you about to rob a church. And then he said, I'm not here to rob no church. You know how he talking. And then he's like, and then Marvin like, okay. He said, you mad because I done beat you up. I done knock. And he said, then he starts to tell him, okay, you gonna do this. If you gonna do this, know that this is gonna take you out. This is gonna hurt you more. It's gonna hunt you. I'm gonna hunt you for a little bit. And he said, but over time it'll get. He said, I'll be all right. He said, yeah, you will after a while. He said, but you're gonna be so hardened inside that you ain't gonna have nothing in you. And there's this funny part, which everybody is forgetting. I don't know why nobody's mentioning it, but Kanan goes, is that how you feel? He said, I'm not low down like you, Kanan. I'm a monster, but I ain't low down. Like, you coming in here to kill your uncle for some crazy stuff. You don't have no respect, no this and that. And it's a powerful moment. As far as the writing was good, as far as the dialogue. And I love that he said, I ain't low down like you. Like, I'm a gangster, but I ain't a gangster just out here killing for killing. So, you know what I'm saying? It was very, very interesting. Now, while I'm talking about Raising Kanan, the great acting, Marvin has shown evolution. Marvin gets killed in that church. His nephew kills him. But Marvin shows such evolution of a character to go from that guy that we meet on screen that can't stop eating, which we might understand as we look at Raising Kanan. It might be a nervous tick for him, how he deals with his nerves, to a guy who's having problems with his daughter being gay in the 80s and all this, to evolving to just loving his daughter, even if he doesn't understand, and them coming together, having a close relationship, all these things. And to see London Brown, I think his name, I can't remember his name, but to watch this master actor who was a comedian take this character to that spot. Oh, it was beautiful. It's one of the, if I don't know what they're doing at the Emmys, to not recognize that, it's one of the most powerful characters I've seen on television. that evolution. And this is a guy who's been around for a minute. He's played, I think he was in where the thing with the Rock, I forget what he played, where he played the friend, the low down friend. I mean, just a great actor. And I think he's a Taurus, which is that's a Taurus. Tauruses, y'all got that thing for acting, okay? Um, because y'all stable and steady, right? So yeah, I loved it. I loved the acting, and I just wanted to say that for him. Great character, great acting. But let me talk about Raising Kanan for a minute and what white people who show run, and I think it would do. And this isn't to be, I don't know who, sometimes the black writers y'all even have sitting in the room. It's just like I had a problem with, it was a show, I forget, that came on TV, and it was by a black woman, but it was a black woman. It was like an HBO comedy sketch show. I forget what it was. It was horrible. It was so horrible. It was just so stupid. And one of the things I got from that is, no offense to her, but she was a suburban girl. And a lot of times what they would do is trying to mock hood things that would happen. And so they didn't know how to bring the humanity into comedy of hood things, like where you might have that from the Wayans. It was like there was that she was viewing it sometimes, because you're in the suburbs and stuff like that. You might have a view, even if you're black, you may be viewing black people in terms of white supremacy, because that's all you're around. It's just, and you may be having minstrel shows, okay, you know what I'm saying? And you may not know how to be humane in the comedy, whereas like sometimes like you might get some minstrel from black people, but they know how to make humane the character if you're in those hoods and stuff. And so for Sasha Penn is a white writer who is running Raising Kanan, and he's done a great job in some of the episodes. Some of the directions, the acting, the writing and stuff has been great. But you don't know what y'all do. And this is why I blame Snowfall. I thought it was horrible in Snowfall too. I thought to really just tell the original story of who the real Rick Ross would have been better. But I digress. But it started turning into craziness later on. And I remember listening to a gangster. It was a guy who was about the 80s who worked with the real Rick Ross, because that story, Snowfall, a lot of people believe is based off of kind of Rick Ross. The original, not Rick Ross, the rapper, Rick Ross, the actual guy who was a drug dealer, first guy did crack houses. People thought worked with the CIA, all kinds of stuff. Okay. A lot of I remember he was saying nobody was doing like that, no killing like that. He said we would have been serial killers. Like nobody, that would have been, and it would have brought the eerie of the police. I've known hardened gangsters. I've had them in my family. And I understand there are some people out here who are gangsters, who have no conscience, nothing. I understand that too. Okay. And that's what they're trying to make Kanan has in the 80s. But I want white writers to understand something. As a person who knows these type of families and have seen them up close, here is the interesting thing. Here's the thing you should know. I always look at my dad's family because I call that the gangster side. The most gangsterous people I've ever seen. My dad, especially in the younger years, in the years when they were young, gangster, but so much love being together, it's a lot of violence on that side because of the lifestyles people were living, but the love they have for each other. Strange. And there was always one tricky one, you know what I'm saying, like a Kanan, but even they would be in check. So here's what my criticism of Sasha Penn in this last and his writers in this last thing is, how do you view black people? How do you view the black family? Because what I saw in the last 2 or 3 episodes was the white gangsters, and back in the 80s, the Italians was all over the streets killing themselves, killing people, killing each other in New York City. Okay, but they didn't reflect them. They reflected them all as coming together, different whites coming together and maintaining their shit against rock. But this black family is being destroyed from the inside out. Like they can come together in bad, but black people can't come together in bad. Black people, and then you take what's sacred, because in the 80s, even gangsters, most gangsters wouldn't in the 80s. Now today it's a different story, but in the 80s, it's very seldom that most gangsters. I know there was Aretha Franklin's daddy, but that was rare. Okay, very seldom in the 80s would gangsters come into church in the early 80s, because there was more respect, or even in the 90s. It's probably in the 2000s when it gets disrespectful, late 90s, 2000. But most people with that during that time frame would not go into a church. Church was still a very sacred ground to Black people. Even gangsters wouldn't go up in there and shoot somebody and kill somebody. To me, you were. I think this is where I saw it was a white writer or a white head that was right and that was okay in this, because, and I know he said he was on somebody's show today, and a lot of Black people can't see some of this stuff, and that's, they don't pay no attention to this stuff, but I do pay attention to it. He was saying, well, it's you guys write a story that's better, and I was like, we need more Black writers who understand things like this and who don't let what they perceive Black people to be and put it on paper. This family starts off, Sasha Penn. I don't know if you even saw. First of all, I don't think y'all watched Power. This is my personal opinion about them. They didn't watch Power. Whoever, I don't know if they even watched it, the writers of the new Raising Kanan, because in order to write Raising Kanan, you had to have watched Power. That's just my first thing, because you couldn't have wrote a good story. Even though this was a good story, but we could see the holes in it. If Rock ends up dead next week, there's no excuse for that, because Rock's alive and Raising Kanan. There's two different. You guys have to be able to explain that a little bit better. I feel like you guys were rushing the story. I feel like it was also a head writer not understanding how those streets operated in the 80s and 90s, and sometimes, and not understanding how sacred the church was to Black America at that time. And you take a Black family who was maybe gangster, but they was all real close at first. And you start to erode this Black family, because you're trying to get to this place where Juke and here's what I'm going to get a little strange, where Jukebox and Kanan are turning into like hardcore criminals. But I'm going to tell y'all something. And a lot of us know this as Black people. Okay, when we've had hardcore criminals in our families and stuff like that. Sometimes it don't take all that. It don't take you killing your uncle, your auntie, your mama, your daddy. A lot of times them hardcore criminals don't act like that. Those are a lot of times mental health people in Black communities, or something else is going on there. But hardcore criminals, like you breaking or drug dealing and all that stuff, Kanan is a serial killer. What y'all turn Kanan into is a serial killer. And I think that because y'all don't understand that a lot of drug dealers in the 80s and the 90s could have humanity, like Marvin, and not and kill people, kill people about their business and stuff like that, and still maintain family and friend and people like that. That happened. And so Sasha Penn, what he did to me, Sasha, I think it's his name, he goes in there and he writes something crazy to me. I mean, he destroys this Black family. He's got this nephew killing. Not only he accidentally kills his first uncle, but then he goes and purposely kills his second uncle again. And my thing is, why couldn't all the Black people come together to destroy the other groups? Why we couldn't have had a moment of come together? Because you don't think Black people can come together, but Black people sometimes did. So I didn't like the way he wrote that. I didn't like the death of Marvin. I didn't think it was necessary. I think you missed the opportunity to bring these characters over, because you're gonna miss them. You missed the opportunity. You got strong characters as a writer. Rock is telling you she needs to be in. To me, Rock needs to be in Origins. Marvin needs to be in Origins. Lou needed, even if it was at the end of them, they need to meet Ghost and Tommy in there. I would have loved to see what that looks like. Some writers don't get it. And they're so interested in the power universe because Black people, and it's also how they made you view yourselves, that you got to have a body, like the streets need a body. No, the streets don't work like that. I've known people to live in the streets. Streets don't need no body all the time. They ain't trying. A lot of time people ain't trying to draw. In the 80s, it was a lot of killing going on. I remember black on black on. There was a lot of stuff going on. Usually us with gang turf wars or something like that was happening, or it was other foreign gangs from other countries coming in with other, you read up on it. I saw this in the Clinton Library myself, little thing about how a lot of foreign gangs were coming in, even when we talk about the cartel and fighting a lot of these gangs on the streets. So a lot of this stuff you was getting was foreign in energy too. Not to say we was all that, but it was a lot of stuff was going, that where the streets was going real crazy. Yeah, that was some other stuff going on. But I also want us to be aware of, like, a Black man. I mean, this is somebody, and in the 80s, that I'm gonna just tell you, that was almost it was happening like in the 90s, that was happening, but it was rare. Like a guy killing, Kanan done literally eliminated his whole fucking family. Like, we know in the future he gonna kill Jukebox. So it's like, and as a writer, to me, it's just lazy writing to think that a person has to have certain things happen to make it devastating to them. No, there are people that become monsters for little things. To me, Jukebox had enough of a lot of things happen to her and I think when you look at Jukebox and Power, how I see Jukebox now in the Power series, we thought she was ruthless in the Power series, but she really wasn't if you pay attention to it. She was ruthless, but she was principled. Meaning that, remember when she asked Kanan in the original Power series, she says, you had a reason for killing Sean, right? Like you didn't kill Sean just for killing Sean. You killed Sean because he betrayed you, or he did this. Juke, even though Juke was ruthless, and they even Ghost shuddered when he knew it was her that kidnapped Tyreek. One thing you see about the writers writing in her personality is that she's a decorated cop. By the time you meet Juke in Power Origins, keep in mind, she is not just a cop. She's a decorated cop. Okay. And we meet her in this store where her people are doing this. She's also a crooked cop. Nobody knows. But remember, when she walks into the store, why does she come in there? Because her people that are working for her, who are criminals, got it wrong. They did something that jacked the whole thing up. And what does Juke do? She's like, even though she's messed up in the head, she's still ruthless. But when she apologizes to the man that she has to kill him because she doesn't really want to, but her people done messed up and he done seen her. So he done made it. He done made her. So Juke doesn't really like, she likes killing, but she doesn't like to do it just to do it. And remember, she shot that guy for making her having to kill that other guy. So when we come to Tyreek and we come to the whole story, Juke never liked Ghost. So what we gathered from Power, or Power, the original series, okay, when she talks about him. And she seemed assuming that he's wealthy and he's a drug dealer. So she's like, she doesn't have any care for Ghost. It's because Ghost is her principles is he's a bad guy anyway. So Juke also is developing this in Power Origins. Why does she kill Pops and Snaps? She takes on, even though we know it's deeper psychologically, something going on that makes her want to kill and angry or stuff like that. She's watched her mother's gotten killed when her mother came back into her life. Both her mama and daddy got shot by gunfire. I mean, it's so much crazy shit they got going on in Power. Even I've seen people in the hood with the worst shit, but Power is some of the worst shit. Raising Cain is some of the worst shit I ever seen. But she she's a character that is already emotionally damaged. But she's going after Pops and Snaps, not because she's just going after them. She going after them because they killed one of their good friends. She's like, hey, Kanan, you don't see that as a problem? But yet you want to kill your mama? And they didn't lie to you and all this stuff. So yeah, I understand the character of Juke, and Juke didn't need Marvin's death to get to that cop. She didn't need it. She was already there. She did not need Marvin's death. She's gone to work with Marvin at the bar, Marvin and Rock. She knows they're drug dealing. Marvin knows they're drug dealing. Okay. So this is a girl who's already damaged. She did not need the death. If you thought the death of her father was just good, that's the one that sent her over. She was already gone over the edge. So I'm not quite sure what that scene was. I don't understand why they did that. And what I felt is, as a Black person, I didn't like the destruction of a Black family in that way, because Black families have been able to survive drug dealing. Look at BMF. That's the truth. BMF was a real story. They went to jail, of course, but they were able. I mean, did it do damage to their family? Yes. But that is, Black families, I just feel like these white writers, you need to get people in there. You need to understand that what you think that Kanan needs to kill both his uncles, one at home, he does it in sacred places, in his mama's house, one at a church that is sacred to Black people. To me, there's underlining things I don't like there. And it just is telling me that you still are looking at Black people through the eyes of white supremacy. Even Black criminals. You don't see white criminals through that gaze. Even Flossie, when Flossie comes on to the show, even Flossie is kind of correcting Rock, like, I don't kill just to kill. Maybe they correct this, they clean this up in the last episode, but I did not like it I thought it was, I understood why Tyreek more so shot Ghost, okay? Because he had his mama influence and he had everything, and he saw Ghost as destroying their family. Tyreek actually chose family, but he saw Ghost as being a destruction to that family. Ghost was talking about putting him in jail when Ghost didn't even go to jail for some of the shit he did. He just went to jail that one little video time for about a week. But he was talking about putting his son in jail for years and telling his son he had to take responsibility. His son like, what? No, the nerve. And Ghost running around here, y'all make excuses. Listen, I don't know if y'all listen. I want Courtney Kemp to come on and probably explain on live. She used to do this all the time, the arcs of these characters. I think I remember her talking about Tasha. Tasha was not, I think what you guys don't understand about Ghost. Courtney is also charming y'all with Ghost, but she's also giving you hints in the beginning of Ghost's bad character. Yes, Ghost was in love with Angela in high school, but then he takes up with Tasha, who is a much younger girl, but she's street. She's young though. So she's implying that Ghost ain't so good. Ghost is taking up with this young girl and he's manipulating her. And so she likes the street stuff because when he finds her, she's already kind of a street girl, even though she's young, but he's older. And so when he raises, and one of the reasons he gets with Tasha is because Tasha's smart in the street game, even though she's a young girl. She's not their age. Tasha is not the age of Angela, Tommy, and Ghost. She is much younger. Okay. And so when she sees Ghost as Ghost, She doesn't know the James St. Patrick because he never meant for her to know that, even though he marries her. And then he comes to her, a girl who he's groomed to be his wife, to be the wife of a gangster, and he comes to her to try to change her now, and she don't know nothing about that or what he's saying. And it's so many layers. It's people that don't really watch character thing. Character progression. I saw that. I could actually I'm not actually surprised I mean, and I have some problems with Power too. Power or Origins. I mean, I didn't like the whole Angie Tasha thing either, but yeah, I just think that we have to be careful when we're writing and maybe more. It's going to take more Black creatives who actually have really seen the game up close. Not and 50 Cent, I know 50 Cent just want to make money. I don't pay no attention here. But people who've seen the game up close of gangsterism and life and the people, the families, have been a part of their families and this and that, and who understand how this thing works, need to probably write more stories, because Raising Kanan just went it just went off the marks, off the rails that last episode. While I love the dialogue for the scenes, I did not like the overall writing of it, the overall direction that the show took. And that it's hard to me, it comes in the form of, and I could be wrong, when you have a white showrunner talking about a family, a Black urban family, and who are gangsters, or the family all has some part in the gangster story, and then you're turning them into serial killers, and it's absolutely. I mean, if this was a show about serial killers, a family to turn serial killers, okay, but this isn't that show. This is a show about how this family, how Kanan becomes a hustler on the streets and a hardened criminal. And yes, there's got to be dysfunction there, but I don't think it's hard to, like, are we seeing this do y'all make these excuses for the white mobsters? The white mobsters, y'all show their mamas and daddies, them growing up in nice homes and everything like that. No dysfunction, even though we know there probably was dysfunction for them to become a hardened mafiosa. But with Black families, it's just this grit and grime. There's no way out. There's no this and that. It's like a good time scenario. Even though I love good times, it turns into that these families are stuck in this darkness, and I would have loved to see, what I would have loved to see is this Black family come together in some sort of way. And I would have liked to see that carry on over into Origins. Like, this is a family that, yeah, we got dysfunction, we got mess, we don't always like each other, it ain't turned out good, it ain't this and that, but let's see, because I think that would have been interesting. I think that instead, we do something. I don't know what he did with this family, and I didn't like it. I didn't like what he did at all. Because I don't think you need to do that I know Black gangsters with families that come from families that they may be dysfunctional, but they also got a lot of love in it. Even when they recognize the dysfunction, the dysfunction comes out of survival. But when they recognize it, they know, and they find some love and humanity in it. And to me, it would have been better for me if Sasha had seen the whole cast in the way that he saw the character of Marvin. Marvin was a hard criminal. Marvin wasn't good. Marvin was a straight up hard criminal. If he was about his family, he was gonna kill you. If about his drug running, money, everything. Lulu had a heart, but Lulu was a criminal. Lulu was Rock's muscle man. He was sent out to do the dirty work. So I just don't understand why we have to tear this family apart, even in telling this drug dealing story. You got to tear this black family up. It just says a lot to me. You ain't got to tear, because a lot of drug BMF didn't get, they have some they disagreements, but that family and they, some of it got broke up because of jail. But not everybody went in them dead. Like you got one serial, Kane has become one serial killer in the family. I hate it. Ooh, I hate it. Ooh, I hated it. Bad writing. I just thought it was lazy writing. Okay. And from a show that's giving us some good points, especially the first couple of seasons. Okay. But that's all I gotta say to that. Okay. All right. Going on to the other things. That's how I feel about Raising Cain. I think it's that the more black writers who understand urban when you're writing from an urban perspective and you're writing about drug dealers. It's not that I don't think drug dealer stories deserve to be told, because I know there's a lot of black people that get uppity and say, well, you got to have these kind of stories, because there are all kind of people in the community. Okay. But it's just that I think they need to be told in a way that's not reflective from what I feel, and I could be wrong and I don't want to judge him, but what I feel is a white supremacy view, and that he may not realize he has. Like, he may not realize it. And I think some black writers who have been raised in white areas, they have sometimes that view too. Okay. So just because you black don't mean you understand what happened, what goes on in the hood, your urban stuff, you know. So that's what I say on that one. All right. All right, you guys. So getting on to some other stuff I want to talk to you about real quick. We talk about Tyler. They got Tyler back. People got mad at me. Don't get mad at me. I don't really want y'all to get mad at me. I'm really here, you know. Oh God, they say Tyler is being boycotted and not, she's not going to do a show in Nigeria because she won't speak up about the xenophobia that's going on in South Africa. It's not, and let me just say this. It's not just what's going on in South Africa right now. It's not just happening in South Africa. It's happening in Ghana and stuff like this. Listen, black people, this is what I'm saying. You've let black Americans sow Pan-Africanism, a lot of black Americans all around the world and stuff like that. But the truth of the matter is these are different cultures and different groups of people and stuff like that. And what's going on in South Africa, I don't see it as some of it may be xenophobic, but I don't see it as xenophobic all the way. I see when this is what people have to understand. When a country has, when a certain citizens in a country have been devastated, have had apartheid and all kinds of situations happen in their homeland, and finally they're getting on, this minority group has come in and treated them, and very few people understand that except for black Americans. This group has come in and taken over their country and told them they weren't nothing, have made it hard for them to get educated, jobs, and just now South Africa is stepping out of that, okay? Trying to step out of that. But then what white supremacy loves to do, and I don't really say it's white supremacy, it's really elites, okay? They love to bring in immigrants. And a lot of immigrants, what's going on is you're just looking for a better way of life, but you're coming from other countries and you're taking on the racist identities and views of white supremacists when you come into other people's group, when you come into South Africa or when you come into America. So you tend to think of that minority group as being lazy. Oh, they don't want to help themselves. They not educated enough. They not like us. They not this and that. And the question is, but when you go back and look at the country you running from, it's having the same problems. And now you coming over and you letting the white supremacists use you, sometimes for cheaper labor, all kinds of stuff. And it's ousting these South African people who are original people to the land, out of jobs, out of this and that. And you say, well, they're not trained enough. They're not this and that, because they have been discriminated against. They have had oppression. You come, if you from Nigeria, y'all been fighting against yourself. Y'all having civil war. That ain't, these are white invaders that came over there. Have some respect. Have some if you coming from other countries into South Africa, understand when people starving and hungry and you coming over in their land and getting treated better than they are as citizens, that's a problem. And people ain't gonna like it. And especially when it's illegal immigration. So South Africans standing up saying, hey, we deserve to have these jobs. We deserve the training. We deserve this and that. We deserve blah, 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 because of what has happened in this country. Don't oust us. I don't think these people are against Nigerians and other groups of Africans coming over there. They just trying to maintain who they are, their culture, their way of life, and because globalism is out here doing something else. This is elites out here trying to put our Africans in a group. I know it's one. You got to understand the elite, what the elite groups want to do. Okay, so there is some other stuff going on with globalism underneath the scene. Just I need to make Africa all one and to erase kind of identity and culture. And I hate that we as Black Americans kind of played a part in that, because we were so as Black people over here, we were getting treated in our country not good. And sometimes we would look for other places, not understanding that we had it better than most. But we would look for other things, and we created this whole idea of Pan-Africanism and not understanding the global world and not understanding Africa itself, just seeing Africa through some sort of eyes like a Wakanda. That's why y'all like Wakanda. That's why y'all like Black Panther and shit like that, because you really don't understand Africa as a continent. You think of it as a country with some states or something, but no, these people have their own. Kenyans are different from Ethiopians. Ethiopians are different from Nigerians. Nigerians are different from South Africans. Okay. And the difference is nothing wrong with that. But there's this idea, globalists love that. They love that we were the picture for the Pan-African, but Pan-Africanism kinds of erases borders and cultures and things like that. It erases and puts everybody in one group, big category. No. That's what these eugenists want to do out here. I disagree with that. I think Africa is beautiful with its different cultures, its different groups. And people want to maintain who they are. It's just like Black America. Man, our story started out horrible. But our ancestors was able, and we still struggling with some things, but our ancestors, what they endured, man, we claimed it. Our blood is in, our family's blood is in the soil in America. So while there's a respect for Africa, we understand our ancestors. Most of us, our ancestors came from Africa, but we are biracial people too. Black Americans are. Because of rapes and massive rapes and everything that went on, our ancestors don't just come from Africa, they come from Europe. We have Native American ancestry, we have French, it's all kind of stuff here in America, okay, because of what happened during the slave trade, right? So when we say we have kind of, since you're talking about over 300 years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow, over about 500 to 600 years of being in America, through the Revolutionary War, through the 13 colonies, through the Revolutionary War, through the Civil War. I mean, the World War I, World War II. Black people when we say we're not African, we say our experience has become different. What we had to survive, what we had. And so what I hate what we were doing has to ourselves, because we had low self-esteem. We were giving you guys a lot of credit that we shouldn't have gave you. It's unfortunate. I mean, yes, Black people brought over here all different kinds of things because we were from different cultures and we became one. but we created our own culture. And African music in 1700s did not sound like what Black American music. Black American music is distinctive. It has created its own sound, its own soul, and it's because of the experiences that we have had in America and who we've become in America. And not just through one culture, through Africa, yeah, the big one, but Native American influence, our influence as European French, as our mixed as a group of people, what this specific group of people experienced in America. Soul music is from what our experience was in America. And for us, we made a huge mistake to try to give that, say, oh, well, we trying to find something. We African, we was lying to ourselves. Okay. We was trying, and unfortunately we did a disservice to Africans to be distinctive in our eyes and to understand the distinction of a global world and to understand the distinction of a continent and their different cultures and people. So I totally respect South Africa for fighting for work. Let me tell you, and this is gonna hate, people ain't gonna like me for this, okay? Hitler didn't just show up in Germany. I want y'all to read on how was a monster like Hitler able to get his feet into Germany. Most monsters don't start off sounding like monsters. They address some sort of needs in the community, in the country. Please don't get mad at me. I'm not saying Hitler was a great person. I'm saying that Hitler was able to get his foot in over there in Germany because it was a lot of stuff going on with Germans and a lot of illegal immigration and stuff like that, because the elites were setting up a situation where it would be easy for a guy like Hitler to come in with somewhat of a populist message. Hitler was really a globalist. That's what I tell people all the time. I know they think he was a nationalist. He wasn't. He was a globalist. He was planning on marching all across fucking Europe. Okay, with his message. It was America that stopped his ass. Okay, he was good. Hitler was a globalist. Okay, he believed in having, he wanted the whole thing. Okay, so my whole idea and nationalism was a way for him to become a globalist. But is there anything wrong with the idea of nationalism? See, we hate nationalism. Because an evil person took nationalism and made it ugly. But nationalism is really having pride in one's own country, one's own culture, one's own group, or whatever like that. But when we have, what happens is a lot of racists and people who are dysfunctional and evil people will take nationalism and use it as, I'm better than you, I'm this and that, this is my code, my this and that. That's not. But there's nothing wrong with having a sense of pride for your country, a sense of and believing your country is a sovereign nation, believing in sovereignty and all that stuff. That's what we're going to have to start undoing some of this stuff that we've gotten here. So, and here's the thing is we can all come together without giving up who we are. And matter of fact, that's the most powerful, because if you got to be something else, if you got to paint yourself into something else, then are you really coming together? Okay, so that's why so going back to Tyler, a lot of people, Tyler is being pushed in this political thing. Tyler is, can I just say this, and please Africans don't get offended. Tyler is a South African thing. Listen, man, listen, in America, we got some, I don't know if Tyler's what, I don't believe that. I believe there's probably tons of talent over there in Africa. But y'all putting up Tyler, I think a lot of it might be colorism. I think that she's light-skinned, pretty girl, all this stuff. But Tyler she's not hitting in America, ain't got nothing to do with her. Those are excuses that her people are using on to make sure why Tyler's not making it. Oh, it's because Tyler is said that thing on the Breakfast Club. Child, that is not a reason why Tyler's not making it. Tyler is not making it because Tyler needs to work on herself as an artist. You can't just be uh 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 you I know that in America they put a lot of money behind people and they sell a lot of bullshit. But Tyler, they ain't buying it. Because you know why? It's a lot of Tylers out here. It's tons of Tylers in America. Tons of them. All trying to sing with leotards on. And personally, the king of the Tylers, no offense, and I love her, and I think I can't say I love her. I have a love-hate thing for her. Beyonce. The king of the Tylers is Beyonce why I call Beyonce the queen of the Tylers, because Beyonce is what the Tylers wish they could be. Beyonce can really sing. Beyonce can really, but Beyonce is beautiful. Now, I don't think Beyonce's in the Whitney category, but I do believe Beyonce's a singer, and she's a great performer. And so a lot of these girls, they don't got what Beyonce got, but Beyonce's used that energy of dance and all these things and her looks and her big voice to be able to make it. And so, but she's created, there's a whole bunch of Tylers behind her who can't sing like that. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know if I'm making sense. That's why I call her Queen of Tylers. Okay, because she's queen of that category. But if she go over into the singers category, she's a good singer. But she's great. She's one of the good singers for her generation. But you put her over there with Legacy and all them, you're gonna be like, well, you can sing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's Beyonce's like that. That in that area, she's has really evolved her voice and everything. But I call her the queen. I'll say she's the queen of the titles. Okay. And it's about being sexy and stuff. And a lot of you girls just think you don't gotta come with it. But if Beyonce is the queen of that, you sure gotta come with it. It's too many y'all out here that's half-ass doing it. It's like you can't just be cute. I saw Tyler perform at the basketball show? Was it WNBA? I forget what it was. It was a horrible performance. I was like, oh my gosh, she's trying to be sexy. She looked uncomfortable. She looks like a young girl in sexy wear. Her body, because she's young. She's like 22 or 23. I mean, she looks like a kid. And it reminds me of Ariana Grande. I've seen her before. This is the problem. And the truth is I'm going to say it and I'm going to end it with this. It's too much competition in her area. With Beyonce being at that top. But it's too many competition in the area of dancing sexy girls. It's way too many of them. You got Victoria Monet out there now. You got Chloe. I said this last show. Who did Tyler think she getting ready to come over here and beat? Nobody. You're gonna have to figure out something. And now she's trying to run around to why I created my own category like A-pop. I'm like, girl, what's that? Like you talking about Afro beats? No, you can't even create your own genre. Girl, we don't believe you ain't that. It's not working, Tyler. Go back home, get in the studio, get to working on your craft. If it's songwriting, whatever it is, and if you want to still continue to be out here, you want to be the little train that could, then hey, by all means, something may catch on. I mean, your people keep putting money behind you. They keep trying to put you in these big spots. Somebody trying to make you catch on. I believe it's social engineering. I believe it's globalism. They trying to have a big globalist store because this is all a part of globalism. Tyler, though, it ain't it. Okay? Take Tyler back. We done seen Tyler. Okay? I already said Cassie 2.0. I need Tyler to develop other skills. It's not that I'm dogging her. I'm really being her friend. It's not dogging her. I think Tyler is beautiful. And I like the song. What's the song? What's the water song? I forget the dang song. It was cute. But that's not, is that how you give it? And look at an artist like Tim's. Tim's voice is not all that. I like Tim's, but her voice is, she is it's not no like Legacy or nothing like that. But Tim's got a distinctive style. She's a writer. She can produce. She's got skill sets. I don't know what your skill set is, Tyler. All they showing you off is cute and light skin. And you can dance a little. I just don't. That's all. I would go. My advice to Tyler was to go back home and really get with people who can see you as an artist, and to really, if you really want to do this thing, really develop your skill set as an artist. Like, figure out who you want to be. You know, some of the great artists that's out right now, one of the great ones I like, Olivia Dean. I mean, like, I love her whole vibe, her whole energy. It's giving me Korean Bailey Ray, but in a different way. You know what I'm saying? It's like a classy kind of English girl. Tyler, you may have to go and, like, your voice is okay, but you may have to go back and say, who am I as a person? Is the sexy energy thing coming across, or am I displaying it in the wrong way? Like, is my sexy be generated in another way? Like, because the way they got you in the little skirts and all that stuff, it just seems weird. It's like, it seems. I remember I was watching it with some guys, watching Tyler do this thing, and they was like, she's that little kid. So people feel strange looking at you like that, even though you're older. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, how do you? It's like Chloe Bailey. I keep saying this with Chloe Bailey. I think Chloe Bailey's better with her sister. Personally, I think sometimes you shouldn't break up a group. But I think that Chloe Bailey has to really work on herself as an artist. You have to decide, how do I bring that sexy vibe I want to the public? I'm going through this thing right now, being an older woman. Like, the other day I went out. I bought this little mini skirt. It's so cute for the winter. I haven't felt. I'm like, I remember I heard Tina Turner say that you will know when you there, but she said, right now I have fun with it. I have fun with my dressing. I spent so much of my years as a young girl. I was so polypure, you know what I'm saying, church girl and everything like that. And so I'm in my older years, I'm a church girl, but I am learning to love my sexiness, learning to love that vibe in me that I just really didn't know, learning to that part of myself and how to display it. How does that look? I remember I was talking to a friend about, telling her I was thinking about shaving my hair off. And I said, because you know what? I feel so good about myself. And she said, what? She was laughing. She said, oh, girl. She said, I love this. I said, and it don't really matter what you think. It really don't matter what they think. It don't matter what nobody think. It's what I think. It's what make me feel good. What make me feel like the most in myself, in my body, in my thing. And I love to do all kind of stuff. I love to wear my hair all kind of ways. I wear ponytails. I wear all kind of stuff. I wear wigs. I wear weaves. I do it all, baby. I love it all. Okay. I like to be different people. I'm every woman, as Chaka Khan say. I'm every woman. It's all anything you want done, baby. I'm all that. I'm every woman. Okay. But I also feel there's this thing I'm coming into in my mid and middle years, and I'm trying to learn how. I said the other day, I said, I don't know how to be. I'm trying to figure out how to be this age, you know what I'm saying, but not be this age, still maintain my youthfulness and my glow and everything like that. But it's really about finding that inside of who I am as a person. Like, my friend said something to me. She said, we were talking about this psychic thing that we listen to sometimes, it's tarot card readers. She said, she was talking about your life already looks established. What looks established to other people, changing it around to something that shocks people in a time when it's supposed to be looking established. That's where I'm at. I don't know where this is, but this is who and I'm gonna get to this, what this means for Tyler. This point in my life where everything is supposed to be established, this is supposed to be the way of how I'm supposed to look, how my life's supposed to go, but it's not. I am turning over chairs. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. And I don't want it to be, I don't want it to be in that way, in a way that you put me in a box. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Tyler needs to go in the way that that you find yourself at every different areas and different levels. Some of you girls need to go back who are great artists out here, need to go back and really examine who you are at this point in time in your life. I always joke about there is the business of show business, you know. There is the business. I'm not a person that ignore the business of show business, because the business of show business, if you're gonna be in show business, is real as hell. Okay. But as the artist side to me, and they can sell you all day. I know they've sold a bunch of junk out here and they made it famous and popular and stuff like that. But the reason I speak to this with Tyler is because I see this. I can see a little girl that looks lost. And the thing is when you deal at this age, it's going to be different evolutions in your life. But when you take this time in your 22-year-old self, or 23, I don't know how old she is, 23 or something like that, go and really find out who you are at this point. Because I believe that's what you need in this age of Aquarius and show business. And I think that's what you need, period. Because every great artist that's really good and worth their salt, as I've been saying lately, who's really good, they have some sort of distinction of they know themselves at different points, and they've been able to sell that to the world. Or they've let somebody else come in and be able to show them who they could be. But it has to sit right with you. And if you're going to be an artist that is going to be on the world stage and you're going to sell your art for a living, and you ain't going to sing at the local donut shop, even at the local stoner shop, you got to have, you know, who you are in some ways. You know what I'm saying? But if you're really going into the area of show business, sometimes it's the best thing you can do for yourself is to go back, sit down. I know they say, hey, you go back, you're going to be out. You might be. But it's better than being destroyed out here and then eventually making it. Let's say you put all the money behind you in the world, you eventually make it, but you know you're a fraud. That's what happens to a lot of people. They just didn't. They made it and they got the money out behind them, and they end up drinking and drugging and everything because they don't really believe in what they've shown, what they've said to everybody is who they are. And what they've sold, what people have sold. So I would say to any young artist out there, find yourself first at this level of your life. Who are you at this stage? Like I'm doing. Who are you at this stage? And then get out there and bring it through the artistry, the arts. Okay. So I hope I made sense with that. All right, next, y'all. Lord have mercy. I thought this was interesting. I'm gonna show y'all. This guy was on talking about monogamy on the show. Let me see if I can pull it up for y'all. He said, what you get wrong about non-monogamy. Okay. And I thought this was very interesting. So let me pull this up. For y'all to see. Let's see if I can add it on here. Okay, this is from, and fair use for everything we do today. You know, we use it to educate. We usually shows different things, but this is from the Next Man Up _ pod, the Next Man Up _ pod out of New York. And this was interesting what this young man was saying about.
Instead of approaching it like something different, you define what your relationship is.
Okay. Let me get this so y'all can see.
Ex asked me, one day my ex asked me, are you not with other women because I want you to not be with other women, or because you don't want to be with other women? And I answered honestly, and it really hurt her, and I didn't want to hurt her, but I was going to be honest. So I knew after that relationship, I was never going to try to be monogamous again. We come from this rigid idea of what a relationship can be. Mm-hmm. So when we try something different, we just place new boxes around this different idea instead of approaching it like something different. You define what your relationship is. Even if we just think of labels, like a polyamorous person and a swinger are very different. If you're monogamous, you're like, that's all the same shit. But to a polyamorous person and a swinger, that shit is very different. If you talk about certain swingers, like, we're only soft swap, it's very different than someone who's just like, yeah, we're full swingers. It's whatever. So I think it's very important to come into that type of relationship. This is what I'm okay with for me. This is what I want for myself. What are you okay with for you? And what do you want for you? Yeah. And then kind of finding out what the balance is for both of you. One day, my ex asked me,
Now, I laughed at the question he said that his ex asked him, because I was talking to a person who's been married for years one time, and she cracked me up. She said, hold up. She said she was telling one of her people, her clients, that she talks to. She said that she has therapy session. The client said to her, said to her, they talking about attraction or something like that. She said, wait a minute, you think that people go through their whole marriage and whole relationship not wanting to see somebody else they ain't attracted to? Please. She said, it's how you view commitment. I was like, oh, we cracked her. And this is true. Listen, let me tell you something. Okay, listen, men, I'm gonna tell you right now, women, there are going to be people in your relationships that not everybody. Okay, there's some of y'all out here saying, not me. Okay, but most people, if you've been in a long-term relationship, you're going to see other people you're attracted to. You might even see other people you'd be like, I'm going to sleep with. You might not sleep with. You know what I'm saying? But it's what well, is the only reason you're not sleeping with other women is because of me? I think that's a crazy question. It should be because of me. That is the action of love. This is what's going on with us out here. Okay, a lot of us like Eros love. Eros love is fun. It's a great gig. I like me some Eros love too. You know what I'm saying? We like it. We like where the chemistry is hot and everything like that. But a lot of y'all stop at that. And then y'all mad when y'all get with people who stop at that too. They like, well, hey, I don't want to love you through your bad time. Wait a minute, you got one leg now? I don't know if I want to love you with one leg. Wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute, you done lost your family, and you want me to help you through that? You want us to be a couple and be married? Wait a minute, go through good days, bad days. And I'm not saying this is not for people who are, because people, I have to always say this because people will write me and be saying crazy stuff. I'm not telling you not to get divorced and stuff like that. When you feel like you've come to the end of something, you know it, and you know that this is a divorce. That's why the divorce courts are there. I'm not against divorce. Okay, I'm not against divorce. And people get divorced for various reasons. But I'm talking about when you decide that you're going to be committed to someone. Yes, you choose not to sleep with another person because you love that person. And if you do love the other person, let me say something. And I know that a lot of us love people, and a lot of people will still sleep with other people when they love with other people. And it's be real love. Okay. But they didn't act in love at that moment. Okay, they did not act in love. Okay, acting in love is doing things that you don't want to do. Everything, I can't do what I want to do. You think that this shit, and maybe I should be free to do whatever I want to do. This is what kind of society we live in. Like, it's like, well, everything I want to. That's what the Bible said in the last days, that people will be lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. That people would love to just get their pleasure satisfied and everything like that. Let me tell you something tonight. Let me just say this to people. Even if you find your dream person, your twin flame, okay, twin flame, Lord have mercy, when you find twin flames. it still has to go past eros and the chemistry of love, and it has to go through the deeper things. A lot of times, a lot of men will. I talked about this on my show one time about having a friend who was in a relationship. She was in a coming out the end of her marriage or in a marriage. She wasn't sure if she was going to stay, but there was another one she was dealing with out there and everything like that. And the other one, what she realized is the other one, like she ended up not being with anybody, but what she realized about the relationship, the difference is that in her marriage, that you she was like that person couldn't even come, they couldn't even come because they only liked, they only want that she was only, they only liked her because she wasn't accessible. They didn't have to deal with her on an everyday basis. I mean, it was cool when when the husband dealing with her every day and all the shit and every, but it's not cool. Now now you trying to have a relationship with you, and the dude was like, oh, wait a minute, man. Like, I like what we got, but I don't want your everyday shit. I don't know if I want your everyday shit. That's why I always tell people, don't never leave nobody for nobody. Now somebody might symbolize to you that there is there's a problem in our relationship. Maybe it means that I might be better off with something else out there different or something like that. Okay, respect. I ain't got nothing. But what I try to tell people is, don't cheat, don't run around, do all kind of crazy stuff. Have leave because it's the end of the road. But a lot of times people will want you in these other relationships, and these others, if you got side pieces and stuff, because they ain't got to deal with the everyday shit of you. You know what I'm saying? The everyday shit of you is something different. And a lot of times, a lot of these people, like you will come through. Who was I talking about last week? I forgot I was talking about somebody on the show last week, and I was saying how I said, don't let nobody come through and steal things that you built. I was talking about, I forget what I was talking about. I think I was talking about prenups and stuff like that. I said a lot of times people will come through. People don't want to invest in you. They might want to sleep with you, but that don't mean they want to invest in you. And and there are people in your life too who do want to invest in you. And so sometimes, a lot of times, you'll find a lot of women giving up, and not men too, men and women. You'll find humans giving up, uh, 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 giving up something for people who are not vested, or people who are not even trying to be vested in you. Okay, some of these people just want to have eros relationships. They don't want nothing deeper. Like, they don't want nothing. They don't really want. So when you got you got to find in your life who those people are for you. Like, you got to find in your life what sustains the long run, in the long run. A lot of times people will take you out on trips. That's what happens with a lot of these like famous dudes, celebrities, and all this stuff. A lot of women are going. Yeah, we was talking about Usher. I was talking about Usher. A lot of y'all, the women are going up on stage and they doing all this stuff. You married and you going up on stage doing all that, and Usher ain't put one investment seed in your ass. Okay, you about to give it all up for Usher for what you feeling in your flesh. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing is, what I'm saying is, when people, there are a lot of these times people can take you on a whirlwind romance. They can take you all over the place and everything, but still, when they after that whirlwind romance, after that, all that sexy time, and y'all might have wild, good, passionate ass sex, all of it. Okay, you might look in somebody's eyes and be like, it's gonna be a good time. Okay, you can see it, but after that, they don't want no more. and you left, you said, well, dang, they invested. We went out on a cruise, we went this, we did this and this and that. And girl, like he didn't call me when I got back because I was trying to ask him, do you want to go to dinner? Stuff like that. And he didn't want to build no relationship with you. And he's not a relationship builder. Because he doesn't want to deny himself. He's only capable of a certain type of love. And you want to give up all your everything for somebody who's only capable of a certain kind of love? Like, this is what this guy is saying. He's saying when his girlfriend asked him, which was a dumb question, because I'm expecting you to do that. That's some expectation shit. I expect you, because you with me and you value the relationship. If you value being with me, I expect you to deny yourself some of the things you would normally not deny yourself, because you're like, I'm trying to build a relationship with her. And if I mess up, I'm honest enough to tell her and talk to her about it. Or I'm honest enough to tell her about the struggle. Or I might step away from her because I'm not sure right now. Or, I know some shit. Y'all go through some shit. Y'all done been in the relationships. Y'all in other relationships and stuff like that. I'm not going to be messy right now. I understand I care for this other person, but I understand that I don't want to I love them enough that I don't want to bring them in a mess. And I will talk to them to tell them I don't want to bring them in a mess. I need to decide what I want to do in life. Okay, that question he said made him just go, hell, okay, I'm non-monogamous. I don't know how that made you think he was non-monogamous. That monogamy is not something marriage and monogamy and all those things are not something that people want to do every day. It's a deeper question of love and what your actions do, not your feelings, your actions. It's when my grandfather, I know every day my grandfather probably didn't want. I know my grandfather probably be looking at me and my grandma like, the hell? I want to stay at home to relax today. My grandpa, when I look at my papa, and I love my papa now, my papa is my heart. And I be my grandma is too, my granny is too, but my papa, I remember him getting up. I talked about this last week at 4 a.m, 5 a.m to go to work. I get up with him. Getting on his construction clothes, going out there trying to work a jackhammer. Take care of his grandbaby and his wife. I remember him going with my grandma singing. Him and my grandma were both singers. They both sang. Both had groups. And I remember him sometimes taking time out from his group to go sell my grandma's records on the road. Me and him be selling my grandma's records when my grandma on the road. Or when he be on the road. Vice versa. But did he want to do that every day? And I look at him now because my grandmother is a little weaker now. And, she is more the weaker one now. And I see him like he be frustrated some days. And him, he'll cook breakfast for her. He'll do this and that. That's love. Is it the same love they had 50 years ago when they was probably hot? When they was running around? Probably, it's not as sexy as that. But his commitment to her, Eros love leads you to make that decision if this is a person I can be with the rest of my life. And even when you making that decision, some of y'all ain't gonna, how y'all be out here in these streets. I know some of y'all, when you making a decision between two people or three people, you deciding who is it that who will be there through the mess is what you need to ask yourself. The messiness of me. And can I be there through the messiness of that person? And every day ain't gonna be a day when we denying ourselves. Yes, I'm denying myself. I don't want no hell. Most people, you think most women want to be faithful out here? A lot of women don't want to be faithful, but they do it because they have families. They have this and that. Men are so crazy. This is a crazy statement that I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to talk about y'all. I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to be trying to put on y'all all this stuff. You know, I talk about I talk about I try not to be judgmental on none of this, and I hope I'm not sounding that way. I really try not to be, but I don't like the idea that people think that because you said you would like to sleep with other women, but you don't do it because of your girlfriend, that you thought that was a reason to be non-monogamous. But that was a reason that showed that you love her. Even if you see other people you do want to sleep with, you like, I love her. That's the true testament of love. It really is. It's denying yourself things. Or if you come to a point in your relationship where you're saying, I love her, but I don't know if this works for me. It'd be different if he said, I love you, but I don't know if we are going in the same direction, if this need is coming from other places because I need something deeper, or I need something more, or my life is calling for something different. That doesn't mean you go to sleep with somebody. That just means, or if there's somebody else there, that doesn't mean you go cheat. It just means that you acknowledge it and you make a decision that is clear and wise. But people talking about, I told her when she said that I was never monogamous again because I saw that. That's just denial, man. That's just life. That's, the married men. That's life. You deny yourself some things because you care for people. You love people. So you say, this is what tell me about him. I bet he got no sexual control. He might have some, but he probably don't got none. That's what he had to say. Well, see, the reason I went ahead and left because she said, did you sleep with me because of you? That was a dumb. First of all, I want to say to the girl, it's a dumb question. That you don't gotta ask that question. That's something he should just naturally. Yes, I'm denying myself other people because damn it, I like you. Yeah, I see songs I want to hit. But I'm not, because I care for you and I don't want to mess up with you. I'm not doing it. Okay. And a lot of y'all, the reason why they keep doing it on y'all is because you don't enact no punishment. Okay, so they run around, play on y'all. Okay, that's what love is supposed to do. Even if you're seeing a person, let me just say this, okay? In the area of we talk about on here, I used to talk about what's that couple that lost their whole shit. They lost their jobs and everything at ABC. Them good ABC, Good Morning Job, Good Morning America jobs. What was their name? I forget their name. Amy and TJ. Yes, Amy and TJ. I haven't heard from Amy and TJ in a while out here in these streets. Okay, listen. Amy and TJ fell in love with each other on the set of Good Morning America or something like that, but they was both married. Okay. Now, that happens in life. Okay. Now, the problem I got with Amy and TJ is that they was just running around all over town, just doing all kind of wild. I mean, they was, they was not being quiet about their affair. They didn't think about their jobs. They didn't think about nothing. It was just done. Now, I don't have a problem. I understand life happens. Things happen to people and stuff like that. But where you show love and compassion and caring for the other person, to me, if you really love that other person, you would have told the other person that you looking at, or the other person that it might work out with or something like that, or you might be thinking about going to, hey, I'm not sure right now. I want to be fair. I'm not going to pull y'all into this. let me figure out my life. But to go all around the streets and sleep, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It just ends up being messy. And in the end, they lost their jobs, they lost their reputations, and a lot of mess happened. That doesn't mean they ain't supposed to be together. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that when we come to every decision should be made with love at the forefront. When you love somebody, you say, I respect this person enough. I've been through enough with this spouse. Maybe we ain't got the Eros love no more. Maybe even we've evolved and changed. Maybe we've come to the end of our road, but I respect this person or this partner. Even if it's not a marriage partner, it's a long-term commitment person. I respect this person enough to not go, not to be messy and to really do what I need to do in the right way. You get what I'm saying? That's what love does. Even it'll deny the other person you love. You might say, hey, I got a lot of feelings for, but you know what? I'm committed to this right now. And right now I got to figure out what I want to do and what I want to be. I'm not going to get in there. Because then it gets into something else. Then it starts snowballing to other things. I hope y'all making sense. So when this guy say he really was doing the right thing and he don't know it, you really doing the right thing when you say no. Until you understand where you want to be. It really is. Listen, I'm telling y'all, it really is good. It really is. Hey, when you got somebody else out there, whatever, when you got other people you liking and all this stuff, it really is right. If you're in a committed relationship, you sit, to say, hey, I'm not going to sleep with, I know I'm feeling this need. I need to address that and see if it's something deeper or see if I care for this other person, something deeper. But what I ain't going to do is, you supposed to be, I understand people fall off. I ain't trying to dog y'all that some fell off. Okay. I'm not trying to dog y'all. Okay. I'm just saying to stop the mess. Because when you care about somebody, you don't do the mess. That's the point. When you get married, that don't mean you ain't supposed to be monogamous because you denying yourself other women. Hell, you married. Hey, that's the name of the game. Now, I'm not saying that it don't mean you ain't supposed to be with nobody else, because y'all write me and say, well, I feel I need to be. Okay, well, if you feel you need, I'm just saying don't make a mess of it. True love in approaching the situation in love is meaning I'm going to get to figure this out. I'm not going to drag people through the mud. Doesn't mean you don't leave them, or doesn't mean you don't find something better, but I'm just saying this was a stupid conversation they had. Okay. And I'm just saying to people out here that when you love somebody, you deny yourself other people. That's love. Okay. You don't always just have to sleep with everything that you feel good about. Shit. You don't have to sleep with everything. What if y'all was sleeping with everything? Y'all just think y'all supposed to sleep with everything you feel sexual about? Now, how would y'all feel if you found out they have HIV or AIDS or something like that? Would you just be willing to sleep? Y'all act like y'all can't deny yourself. Come on now. Well, see, when I found that when she asked me that, I knew I could never be monogamous again. What? I hope y'all understood what I was saying. Even though I went around the boat. Because I have to answer a bunch of y'all, because some of y'all be right saying crazy stuff, okay? But I'm just trying to say that that's the name of the game, is denial. The name of the game is, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna pass on it. Yo, I feel you. I think you all that, but right now I gotta figure out what I want. All right, I gotta this and that. I'm not gonna make it messy. And if you have made it messy, then saying, hey, you know what? I don't need to do this again. I need to figure out what I want until I figure out what it is. That's just being a responsible adult. That's growing the fuck up. Now, sometimes these other relationships can tell y'all not supposed to be in them relationships. Yeah, y'all don't really like the person. Y'all faking. It might be something comfortable you like about the person. It might be something, or you might love the person, but you may have come to the end of the road, like Boy Smith said. Although we've come to the, sometimes you might be at the end of the road. You might be saying, "This is the end of the road." Okay. So you know what I'm saying? All I'm just asking y'all to do is, this is crazy. Y'all out here talking about monogamy. Be careful what y'all say.
You not with other women because I want you to not be with other women, or because you don't want to be with other women? And I answered honestly, and it really hurt her. And I did.
It's stupid. That's a stupid question. That's what you're supposed to want, because you don't want to be. It is not for women. You think women just don't want to be? She's just because she out into you right now. But later on in life, you go probably you would ask her that same question about 5 years down the line. She'd probably be like, because you don't want me to be. Okay. But then again, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me reframe that. Because he did say something powerful, something I'm missing right now. Because you don't want me to be. That has to be part of the reason, but you also have to be saying, yes, part of the reason has to be you don't want to hurt the other person. But also the reason has to be because because you want the commitment. So it is a denial of self. Even though I think it's a stupid question, I understand little parts of it. Yes, if you're a playboy, you know what's hard. Players have a heart. I had a player I've had a couple of players in my life that really liked me, fell in love. Okay, and it was hard for them. It was hard for them to be in a committed relationship. But they stay committed. I know an old school player, right? A guy I used to date during it. He said, "Girl, boy," he said, "you taught me I was loyal. First time I was ever loyal." Because why? Because it wasn't that he wasn't tempted with the same things. It's because he said, "Hey, I found a girl I really kind of dig, and I really want to give it a shot." Even though it didn't work out, it's like I still want to I want to be committed. I want to figure it out. And no, not do. It doesn't mean I don't always feel like not sleeping with other women, but it's because I like her. I care for her. It doesn't mean I don't want to have that. I don't have a feeling to see other people. It's because I am committed to trying this thing on and seeing how it works. That's all. Shit. Come on, I mean y'all ain't gonna see no other temptations out there. And it don't mean, hold on, because some temptations are a warning. Sometimes it's the truth. I hate to say it because we was talking about this the other day. So me and a good friend, we be having these kind of crazy discussions, but sometimes there are temptations are there to tell you it might be over. Okay. Y'all say y'all be talking about y'all meet y'all twin flames when y'all married and all that shit. Are y'all dating and married? That happens. Okay. It happens. Okay. But that means you need to really consider what that is. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, what's a twin flame? I mean, what, twin flames are interchangeable to me. So I watch a lot of twin flame stuff. But but when you have a lot of twin flames don't marry. So, because they don't want the commitment, but when you if you have that kind of situation, you owe the person love and respect that you are in it with to do it and do the right thing. That's all I'm saying to y'all. And so what this male is saying makes no sense to me, because that's just a part of life. People are always denying temptation. If you're a person that just gonna give in to pleasure every time, you're gonna end up messed up out here in this world. Okay, so I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. All right, I hope y'all got that. Okay. Okay, Oprah Winfrey's South African school is shutting down. After a little bit. And it's just like women, I be talking about these Usher concerts and these concerts. Okay, it's one thing I say go up there and dancing or singing or he sing to you or something like that. But you ought to, it doesn't mean that you don't want to go up there. Like you wouldn't want the fun fantasy of going out there with Usher, but it's that you respect the person you with enough and you care about them that you deny that. You say no. And I told you girls that don't even go with love. I say get logical. I always say y'all be logical about y'all shit. Logical is Usher getting ready to pay these kids for these kids school clothes. Is Usher about to be paying your health insurance? Is Usher like all the stuff that your man give you or you in a relationship with? Is it worth going up there? Like this girl I heard spent $20,000 in the VIP and her husband didn't know it. And she went up there and she did all that on stage with Chris Brown. Child, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's somebody that ain't balanced. Cause the first shit, the fuck, I'm like the Usher. You act like Usher, yo nigga. Usher, listen, that's a fun fantasy to go to have, but don't ruin your shit. When you got shit, Usher ain't invested nothing in you. Why you gonna go up there and throw all your shit up on a gamble, all your shit for a night for 5 seconds with Usher? I mean, 5 seconds with Chris Brown. That don't make no fucking. It makes no fucking sense to take $20,000 out your cash flow. You girls ain't making no sense. I understand going to a concert and having fantasy and screaming and all that. I ain't mad at that. I even understand the meet and greet and all that. I ain't mad at that. But I'm talking about y'all going up on stage and turning up your ass. I mean, it's like, come on now. Like you got somebody stable. Like Usher ain't in no competition with your man. Like Usher ain't like, hey, I'm trying to take you. This ain't no situation like that. This is a 5-minute come through the thing. That's why I'm talking about denying yourself. You should be able to be like saying no, because you know what? I got too much on the line. Not only do and I respect the situation, but if some of y'all need to just think logical. Love also comes in logic. What is it? Love doesn't want to hurt just want to embarrass the other person. Now, Tyreek said something the other day. I wanted to say this about Tyler. So another thing he said about Tyler. Okay, and I want to explain this to people because had to explain this on this show before. And this has been a thing that's happened over the years. But they had Tyrese was, I guess Tyler had a conversation where she was talking to Ebro, and we showed that last week. And Tyrese, the singer, comments on Tyler speaking on the backlash of identifying has colored and points to the select outrage. Never listen to the opinion of people who never had a passport. Oh my God, the elitism that is in that statement. Let me just say this, okay? First of all, I tell y'all that's not the reason Tyler's not liked. But secondly, Tyrese having a passport does not mean, listen, it's beautiful to go all around the world. And there are people who do have passports and who go all around the world and they educate themselves about the world. Do you hear what I'm saying? They educate themselves about the world. Every place they go is an education, even if it's for a couple of weeks or something like that. Or people have lived in different countries around the world. That's something I like to do. People lived in different places and stuff like that and gone to different things and lived there for a little while just to know the culture, know the people and stuff like that, just to learn about that area. Okay. But you tourists think, and it's from an elitist point of view, a lot of you think because you've gone into a country, yeah, I went to Africa, I went for a week. But you didn't understand. What you don't understand is there are people that have never had a passport but are highly educated that probably understand what you were standing in more than you do. Because you went there as a tourist. You were just there looking at tourism. You didn't learn about the culture and the people. You was just there. You might have learned a little something, but you was just there and bought you a little fruit bowl. I mean, bought you maybe a little food from the local market that you did. You saw, you might have went this, or you might have did this. You did tourist things, but you didn't learn about the place in which you were in. A lot of people travel, but they don't learn about the place they were in. And it's a powerful thing to travel. It is. I'm not knocking that. It's a powerful thing to be able to travel around the world. But this kind of elitist statement is implying that you don't listen to the opinion of people who have never had a passport because he thinks because he's got a passport, he knows something. Not necessarily. A lot of y'all don't even know about your own country and what you live in every day. You don't even know the laws and things like that. So what do you mean? That's not true. Don't listen to that kind of stupid stuff. That's elitism. And it's not true. There are some people who are very intelligent, who are very smart, who don't have a passport, but who read about the world all the time, or who read about the politics of the world, or who could have told Tyler, hey, when you come to America, make sure they might not have never been to America, but I read one time in America that they are very this and that, or this and that. So don't listen to that kind of shit. This is what this generation has got. This is why this generation is so, a lot of the last couple of generations have it's been so bad because there has been this new form of new money that's come up and they have elitist views. Oh, well, you haven't seen it. Well, you haven't been, you don't have a passport. Well, you got a passport and been there and still don't understand what you was in. That's even worse. You don't have to travel to learn about history. I see somebody else right here. They're saying she's from a different country where they identify differently. That's why it is important to travel beyond the US and learn some history. How the fuck y'all mad how somebody identified? Okay, listen, you don't just have to visit those places. It's great to visit, but you also have to understand what you're standing in. Just because you go to visit a place doesn't mean that you learn their history in the 2 days that you there, the 7 days that you there, the 2 weeks that you there. It's people who get in the ground and say they will. It's a lot of people who go to educate themselves. They go to the history. They go to find out about this and that. They go to museums. They go to historical things. A lot of y'all don't. A lot of y'all be on the beaches and playing and all this shit. Y'all be at the thing. Y'all go to the museum. Y'all don't pay no attention. Y'all just put it on Facebook. But there are people who have never been to places and are far more educated about that place than people who have set foot on. So your passport don't mean shit. If you haven't understood what you stood in. And a lot of y'all, like I said, especially celebrities, sitting up there, y'all travel the world and still don't understand the world. Y'all might have got something different. Oh, in Japan, you know, they like to put on this and that. Yes, you did get something by seeing it, but you can also get that through reading. And the world has become a smaller place now through the internet. So your elitist little thing, Tyrese, you probably don't even understand the country in which you live in for. Okay? So stop it. Okay, let's not do that. Let's not play these little games. Okay. So somebody said, somebody did see this. Now, this is elitism. What does someone having or not a passport has to do with it? Each country has its own race construct. It's just some people who have had a hard time understanding that. Yes, and Tyler, this is fake. That's fake news. I'm telling y'all that's fake news about Tyler. This is her people trying to spin why she's not making it in the U.S. That might be a little reason her saying that she's not black. It has nothing to do with being colored, because black people in America have been called colored before. That's not true. Tyla is not making it because of the things I said. Tyla's just not that interesting of an artist. There are so many girls in that lane that she's trying to come in that she's not interested, and she's got to find herself. She looks uncomfortable every time I see her. Okay. And that her people got her people, it's a lot of money behind Tyla because she's a pretty girl. And they trying to sell a prettier face, but that's not, it's a lot of pretty faces out here. So unfortunately for her. Okay. Let's see. Oprah Top said something on Keke Palmer this week. I want y'all to hear. I thought it was really good. So let me get y'all hear this, okay?
It's really not about that person. It's about, what is it about you that doesn't have the value for yourself that you're willing to let yourself be treated that way? It's not about him. So now I thank him. I thank him. I realize that all of the bad relationships were my best teachers. My best teachers. So if you're in a bad relationship, if you were somebody that's not loving you the way you want to be loved or seeing you the way you want to be seen, that's not on them. That's on you. That's on you. And the reason it keeps showing up wearing a different pair of pants is because God, the universe, the life force is trying to get you to see it. And how bad does it have to get for you to see it? That's why it's happening. Anytime you think it's about the other person, that person is showing up to show you who you are. So if you're in a relationship where you've taken a lot of stuff, it's really not about that person. It's about, what is it about you that doesn't have the value for yourself that you're willing to let yourself be treated that way? It's not about him. So now I thank him. I thank him. I realize that all of the bad relationships were my best teachers. My best teacher. So if you're in a bad relationship, if you were somebody that's not loving you the way you want to be loved or seeing you the way you want to be seen, that's not on them. That's on you.
I totally
that's
agree.
On you.
Oprah,
and the
I've been saying this to women, and I say this all the time, that women, this is to me saying about women taking responsibility, even in abusive relationships. All of that is about you. If you keep attracting an abuser, it's about you. It is never about the other person. It really is. And it's about you taking responsibility for yourself. And it is what it is. She's right. If you don't see that these relationships, the reason that you get in bad relationships and bad things is because of, you keep thinking it's the other person, but you're going to keep finding that other person in the next person. But it means that, hey, you have to look at self. Every time you get in a bad relationship, it is a reflection of you. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna give you a minute here. I gotta get something. Hold on just a second. We're gonna go to a little break. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, you guys. Okay, yeah, and this is how you take responsibility for yourself in relationships, because you have to always realize. That's why I didn't like the law when I talked about that marriage law in North Carolina, because it really helps people take the responsibility off of themselves in relationships. Even when you're married and getting cheated on, and you're constantly accepting it, or you're dating and getting constantly cheated, it comes back to you. You don't even care. You don't even have to care. You have to start saying, Why am I allowing this? It really doesn't. People hate to hear that nowadays because they teaching this other kind of psychology out here that you can't help yourself. Oh, you draw these kind of things because of this and that. Blah, 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 blah. But it really is just about you figuring out you. Yes, it's you. You got a problem. Okay, and you draw the bad relationships, and if you refuse to look at you and refuse to look at why you keep drawing that in and don't look at yourself and keep looking at the other person, you will never get well. You will always get the same person. Okay, I believe that. So I love that Oprah said that. It is about you determine how you want to be treated and how you want to be loved. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now we talked about the girl that got caught up on the Usher stage, the pretty girl. My thing is, don't go up there. I always say to women, don't go up there if you know they already tell you ahead of time what they already do. Why you go up there? That's all. All the rest, it's just not even really worth that much of a discussion on that note. Okay. Okay. Now I saw something on this podcast, one of the podcasts I listen to all the time. And this was 13%, which means 7% of the world's population, white men. Watch for upset. A lot of these talking points too, they got from black. No offense, and this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. This a lot of black Pan-Africanists who were American back in the day, and some of the ideas are dated, to be honest, for y'all. But let me let y'all hear what he was saying. David was saying on this is from the One for Africa podcast. So let me let y'all hear this.
That's it. 13%, which means 7% of the world's population are white men. So what are we doing?
Word.
What are we actually doing here? We are sold. You look at Africa on the map and it's the wrong size. You look at Great Britain on the map and it's too big. Like, images are political, and the only way you can reframe the narrative is to be in the driving seat of the perspective and the narrative and the pipes. Yeah. You have to have a distribution mechanism, because at the end of the day, that is the mechanism through which the narrative gets out into the world. And so that's what Mansa is for us. It's small, it's nascent, but it's ours. Yeah. And the perspective on there is ours. And the people who are on there, we value and we are platforming them and we are giving them a place where they are valued, as opposed to what every single one of us experience elsewhere, which is that you're thought of as charity. Yeah. Like, we made Queen of Cartway at Disney, and an executive there referred to the film as a brand deposit. I said, "Oh, what? What's a brand deposit?
What the hell is that?"
To my face, this person said, "The kind of film it's good for us to be seen making."
To make them look good.
Right.
Oh, that they made this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then they made that movie. Then they made the Then they did, right after that, they did the white girl that can play chess. They copied it.
Queen Gambit.
Queen Gambit. I was, because as soon as I said, that's the kid. They took it. Right. And I do it on stage. I go, "Oh, you guys think you're slick?" Right. They did the African chick, and I do a whole joke about, the African girl not having enough chess pieces.
Right.
Right. And then I put Samuel Jackson in. I'm just making, it goes, "You trying to play chess? Where the hell are your pieces?" I don't have it. A rock and a sock. Say, hell, I said, they're going to make the African girl not have no money and all.
Oh, so my gosh. Godfrey is a problem. I'm just going to say it.
Here's the problem, though, Africans. You got a whole continent over there, and this is what people are seeing you have. This is why they seeing you as you a lot of that. David can talk all that stuff, but you still in other people's land trying to play. You guys are actually from the continent. You are actually from the continent. You could be building up those things over there in Africa. You want to come over here and tell them they not gonna, we know them. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Y'all from the continent, y'all could be building this stuff over there. But y'all coming over here, they do look at y'all as getting handouts. Now, let me talk about this 13% population thing. That's outdated. It's really, because it don't matter. That don't even matter no more. I tell people that all the time. So what, white people are 7% of the population. So what, they 13% of the population. Yeah, but they shouldn't be running. It don't matter. That's not what it's, that's not, you don't, if you think that's the construct, then you lost. I used to think that too. You're not. That's not what it is. White supremacy is really not the real construct. And if you see the beginning of the American racism, what happened in America through racism and how they did slavery, you will understand what the construct really is. The construct is you really eugenicists and elites running their systems through white supremacy. And America is, in my opinion, is one of the first pictures of that. I'm sure there are other countries, nothing new under the sun, but America is the first modern picture of elites hiding behind white supremacy. And what they do is white supremacy. Even when in America, you think about the slave trade, when you think about what happened with white supremacy, every group that's come over here, when even you think about the Irish weren't treated well. But what the elites understood is, hey, you know what? Let's create this white supremacy thing that makes these lower things think that whiteness is really the thing, not their lower class. So they won't turn against us. And we'll create this thing. We'll make them, even though they just as poor as the slave or just as something as a slave, we'll make them over the slave. We'll make them be able to whip the slaves, be sharecroppers over the slave. Okay, look at those systems. A lot of those white males and stuff coming from immigrant class were poor. And then when you talk about the Italians coming in and all these things and how these they construct all these groups in through white supremacy. The whole idea is to be even blackness through some ideas of white supremacy. So it's really not about the percentage. It's about the elite group and the ideology that stands behind it. Percentage has nothing to do with it. You can be 5 people and run 100 million people. You should know that coming from Africa. Okay, so that has nothing to do with the elites are running structure through ideology like white supremacy, but to hide the real ideology of that we don't want our wealth and our power to be messed with. And so we can create the construct of white supremacy. So you'll always be looking over at white supremacy, but you won't see the elites controlling the narrative of white supremacy. Whites are now starting to see it, especially in America, because of how things are coming down. So unless you see the elites that's been running the world, like even with Hitler, elites were behind the whole thing of how Hitler comes to power. So, you can read up on that history of Germany and understand that, okay? It's not really just, Hitler don't just show up. There are certain situations that are constructed through bankers and financiers and big money families that create this place for a guy, a monster to rise up. Okay.
Mr. Nigga right here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to rank myself,
Okay.
strictly physical on a scale of 1 to 10, you know what number I give myself?
A 6. Yes.
A 6. I'm a strong 6. Now, if you start adding in, I'm nurturing, or I make a lot of money, or all, like, my number might start to go up. But strictly aesthetic, I mean, because I can't use 7, right? 10s don't exist. Okay.
What?
So you got to take 10 off the scale.
So you
got to take 7 off the scale. It's a 6, an 8, or a 9.
Why are we taking 7s off to break
Because
it down
everyone
to me?
will automatically
taking 7
say
off.
7.
Yeah.
Like, how would you rank your?
Oh my God, this woman.
How you
This woman be on every show. She's really made a business of. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna talk about this. I already don't want to. Okay, we're moving on. We'll move on to something else. Yeah, that's. I was gonna talk about that, but I changed my mind. Okay, now I saw a girl talking about Whitney Houston not being able to sing to her child. I ain't even confronting that. There's no. I mean, I what can I say about somebody who think Whitney Houston? I mean, what? I mean, come on. That's so crazy. That's something I don't even really gotta waste my breath on. Okay. I'm gonna end it. We got 2 more things I'm gonna end it with.
We were brought here to make America rich. Anybody can become rich if you enslave millions of people and they work for free for close to 300 plus years. So once we were freed, then that's when the genocide kicked in, because we were no longer assets. We immediately became competition. And they decided, we do not want to share this great American economic pie with you. And then that's when lynching started. That is when the incarceration started. That is when they said, okay, you can't have access to a proper education or economic inclusion, loans that are not predatory. So we won't work, we won't survive unless we become one. It won't work any other way. You need that balance so we can become one. You know, it's this slavery has never been about black or white. It's always been about green. We were brought here to make America.
I agree with Byron Allen to a point. Slavery was not about that. It was definitely about making money and everything. But in order to control the narrative of slavery, in order to keep those black people under control, in order those things, they had a thing that they used to do. Like Tariq Nasheed talks about buck breaking, but they also had I forget what they call it, where they used a black. It was specific to the Americas. That's why when people say it don't matter what port you dropped off on, it's like, yeah, it did. Okay, because chattel slavery was different. But Americas introduced the idea of race and of you being property and you not being human, but a piece of property to own, and also that your color was the reason you were enslaved. America made blackness bad and not humans in order to keep the slave in control, under control, to the what people would even call the Willie Lynchers, but I forget what they called. They used to call it. It was something they called it that they did to break the slave, break them of their name, break them of who they were, break them of everything. Okay, and this kind of thing also went more to race. Like I said, race has a construct. They were also building, these elites were also building the narrative of white supremacy so they could hide behind it, so that nobody would come and challenge. If you got all these people fighting against each other for because one group thinks they're supreme and this is their birthright to rule you. The elites have told them that. Well, it keeps them from looking at the real problem why they can't get wealth. They'll start believing they can't get wealth because these black people here that want to work for them for free no more. They better than this is their birth. So the elites created this kind of system of race in America, so that they can hide with the plantation owners and people like that can hide the real problem, hide really behind white supremacy. White supremacy has always been a construct that they use to hide the real reasoning and moneymaker. And it's been able to go like that for years. So yeah, in some ways, I totally agree with Byron Allen on that. But I understand somebody said, lost me with this one. A huge part of slavery in America was grounded in racism. Should have paid his publicist. No, that's not true. Racism was not the beginning. Racism became a construct after a while in America because the elites had to not only control the black slavery class, but they also need to control the white immigrant class coming over. Okay. So the elites came up with the construct of white supremacy, of making one group thinking they were better than a group. Byron Allen is right. The end of it is about money. Then the genocide does kick in. But early on, race was meant to subdue, break black people in America. And it was also made to think poor whites or whites who are middle class whites or whites who didn't have as much, make them feel like this is their birthright to rule. But meanwhile, the elites are behind the scenes they're the puppet masters, pulling the strings of all of it, but they don't believe none of it. Not even in the system of white supremacy. The white supremacy system hides the elitists, hides the idea of eugenics, the eugenics, hides the ideas of the top 1%. That's why you're punished today. That's why political correctness became a part of the white supremacist class. Why do you ask that? Look at what happened in the 1960s with the advent of television. In the 1950s, was 1940s, 1930s, and television came about. I forget when television was. It was 1940s and 50s. But when television came about, suddenly America itself is an experiment too. But when America is suddenly being exposed as not the land of the free and the home of the brave, but suddenly they're showing that they put water hoses on their citizens. They spit on their citizens for trying to go to school, and the citizen group that built up their country for free, who were enslaved. And so the world is seeing it now. The world is being exposed. The world's like, oh, that's what's going on in America? Oh my God. It's being all over the television. So what they come up with is starting to the civil rights movement and political correctness. They take over those movements and they begin to, you're punished as a white person if you say the wrong thing out loud now, because the whole idea of white supremacy and elitism operates in secret, because now we don't want the world to see what we really are. So what we'll do is we'll make these people, we'll show that even though we set up structures in these urban neighborhoods and places, we'll make it like it's their fault for what's going on. And somewhat is, but it's somewhat theirs too. They've created a construct that helps, that creates black on black crime, drug usage, all these things. Because they had to hide from the world this thing they were operating in. of America, and you really have to look at the history of America and all that. There's a great thing on now on television now called The American Experiment. I started watching, and it kind of gives you the understanding and history of some of how this works. But Byron Allen is right to a point. It's really the end of it is money, but white supremacy is there to hide that 1%. And it's about elitism and classism also, okay? Okay. I did see the family who killed the 2 kids who killed their family because they couldn't still live together. Child, that's crazy. They need the death penalty. I can't say no more. The foolishness of that. The foolishness of hurting your family because they say no to you. Killed 5 family members. I can't even talk about the case because it's ticked me out. I don't want to waste my time. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. But they need the death penalty, okay? I might talk about it next show, okay? Lauryn Hill, they said, had a meet and greet. Lauren, this is great for you. I think that you need to get back out there and do. I got on Lauren because I love Lauren. That's why I got on Lauren, because Lauren, we need Lauryn Hill out here. We don't need Lauryn Hill hiding behind a bunch of mess. We need the vulnerability, the story, and everything of Lauryn Hill. And I'm glad to see her back out here. They said she was late, but I'm gonna leave it alone because I feel like, and that's gonna come. Lauren, listen, I will say this: you have to respect your fan base because and respect their time. Just like you got time, they got time. Some of them left they got babysitters at the house to come to see you at that book signing or whatever the hell you was at. Come to see you, and they got so much time to be out. They gave their babysitter their last little bit of money. Respect their time too. Just like you got time commitments, they do too. Okay. It could be all kind of things going on. So yeah, but shout out to her for even doing that. It's showing that she's kind of trying to get back out publicly and stuff like that. And I think she makes some new music. Okay. A lot of y'all saying so much about Malcolm Jamora Warner's case, the wife and all this stuff. Child, there's been so much drama out there. I don't got time. I can't go through it. But all I know is this. That man didn't leave her in a good place, okay? And I told y'all what y'all all need to do financially, okay? With you. When you get these men, you got to tell you what it is, okay? So that's what we're going to leave off on the show today, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. I'll try to do another show this week. It depends. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. But you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, you can hit me up on the Carlotta Chat with Facebook page. You can also hit me up on Instagram at Carly's _ Galaxy. Carly's with an S _ Galaxy. Carly's with an S _ Galaxy. And then there's a Threads link on there also. And then for TikTok, it's Keisha Carlotta. Okay. And for X, it is C Chatwood Show and Carlotta 72. All right, you guys, I'm out. Y'all have a good one. See ya.